This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the Healthy Happens Here webinar series. This is a series of virtual webinars that cover a variety of topics, including nutrition, mental health, tobacco cessation, and chronic disease self-management. My name is Candace Schottenlohr, and I am a health educator with the Community Engagement Team with the Florida Department of Health in Miami-Dade County. And just a few housekeeping items before we begin. Please know that you have the capability to have your cameras on or off, and you have the ability to mute and unmute yourself with your microphone. And just as a reminder, please remember while you're not speaking to keep yourself muted. And again, if you have any questions throughout today's webinar, please add them to the chat box on the right side of your screen. We will be monitoring that. And in addition, after the presentation, we'll have our Q&A session with our presenter and immediately following that. And so please feel free to enter any questions you have in the chat box, and we'll make sure to get those addressed during the Q&A. And so today's event is called Healthy Summer Habits. And today our presenter will share and review some healthy habits to help you have a healthy and happy summer. And we'll review eating habits, staying active, and ways to stay safe in the sun. And I would now like to introduce our speaker for today. Our presenter is Melissa Mayteen. Melissa is a health educator with the Community Health Action Team of the Florida Department of Health in Miami-Dade County. And the Community Health Action Team works to reduce the incidence and prevent chronic diseases. And the team focuses on bringing awareness to the community through education, screenings, and community health events. I will now turn it over to Melissa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candace. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Like Candace mentioned, my name is Melissa Mayton, and I'm a health educator with the Community Health Action Team of the Florida Department of Health in Miami-Dade County. So I hope you're all having a healthy and a happy summer so far. And as mentioned, today we're going to be discussing some tips to help you make summer healthier. And you can find all these tips and more at the CDC's website at cdc.gov. So let's get started. So the first tip we're going to talk about today is to move more this summer. As many of us know, physical activity is very important and can make you feel better, function better, and sleep better. Even short bouts of physical activity are beneficial. So being physically active also fosters normal growth and development. It improves your overall health and can reduce the risk of various chronic diseases. The recommendation of physical activity is at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity, such as brisk walking or swimming. Moderate intensity activity is anything that gets your heart beating faster. Also recommended is at least 2 days a week of activities that strengthen muscles. So body weight exercises such as push-ups or weightlifting, anything that makes your muscles work harder, that's considered a strengthening activity. So 150 minutes can sound like a lot, but it's 2.5 hours a week. You can break this down to 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and you can spread your activity out during the week, so you don't have to do it all at once. You can even break it up to smaller chunks of time during the day. So for example, you can do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon, really what fits your schedule. You want to find that balance that works for you and aim for the recommended activity level and be as active as you're able to. So overall, adults should move more, and sit less throughout the day. Remember that some physical activity is better than nothing. So adults who sit less and do any amount of moderate or vigorous intensity physical activity will gain some health benefits. Another helpful tip, people usually want to know what is the difference between moderate and vigorous intensity activity. So an easy way you can test this out is to try talking while you're being active. So if you're breathing hard, but you can still have a conversation easily, that's considered moderate. Whereas if you can only say a few words before you even take a breath, this is considered vigorous intensity activity. Now remember that the summertime is a great time to be active, especially with our sunny days here in Florida. You want to try and find an activity that you enjoy that helps you be physically active and also stick with it. So any activity that gets you moving counts. Maybe there are things that you already have to do, like gardening or cleaning or walking the dog, that help you get your steps in. Also, things that you enjoy that don't feel like exercise. So like playing sports, dancing, or going on a walk with your family at the park. Those are all very good ways. I do want to make a note that even though physical activity that requires moderate effort is safe for most people, if you have a chronic health condition, you want to make sure to talk to your doctor about the types of activity and the amounts of physical activity that are right for you. So, for example, if you have heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, also if you've been inactive for a while, or you have a disability or overweight, you want to discuss the vigorous intensity physical activity with your doctor before you begin. So this is an infographic by the CDC that shows the health benefits of physical activity for adults. So let's see some of these immediate and long-term benefits of physical activity. So some immediate benefits that you can see here are sleep. I know when I exercise, I definitely sleep better. It reduces feelings of anxiety, and it can help reduce your blood pressure. Long term, it reduces your risk of developing dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, and reduces your risk of depression. It lowers your risk for heart disease, or stroke, and type 2 diabetes. It lowers your risk of 8 different cancers. You can see them listed there, but bladder, breast, colon, kidney, lungs, stomach are among them. It helps you reduce your risk of weight gain and maintain a healthy weight. It improves your bone health and reduces your risk of falls because it does improve your balance and your coordination. So the next tip for a healthy summer is to stay protected. So as I mentioned, spending time outside is a great way to stay physically active, to reduce your stress, to get vitamin D. However, it's very, very important to stay safe outside, especially during some of our very, very hot days here in Florida. So according to the CDC, skin cancer is the most common cancer in the US. And as most of us know, too much sun can cause skin cancer. Specifically, too much exposure to UV light. So that's ultraviolet light. It's what causes most skin cancers. These are rays that are invisible that come from the sun, tanning beds, sun lamps, and can really damage your skin cells. And even though we are talking about staying healthy during the summer, please remember that protection from UV rays is important all year, not just during the summertime. Even on cloudy or cool days, the UV rays can still reach you, and they reflect off surfaces of water, cement, sand. And even though it's not relevant to South Florida, they also reflect off of snow. So most weather forecasts that you can find out there will provide that UV index for your area. So make sure you're also checking that out whenever you check the weather. And if the UV index is 3 or higher in your area, you want to make sure to protect your skin from too much exposure to the sun. So even still, there are ways you can work and play outside without raising your skin cancer risk by protecting your skin from the sun. So for the first bullet, you'll see shade. You want to find some shade, and you can reduce your risk of sun damage and skin cancer by staying in the shade, such as under an umbrella, a tree, or other shelter. You want to try planning ahead. So if you're going to the park or a trail, maybe go to a park where you know that shade is available, or if you're going to the beach, bring an umbrella with you. And you don't want to forget that even if you're in the shade, you still want to use sunscreen and other protective measures. So the shade is not enough on its own. You also want to wear protective clothing. So when possible, if you're going to be working outside, wear long sleeve shirts or long pants that can provide protection from those rays. A lot of people shy away from this because of the hot weather, but they do sell breathable outdoor wear that's also protective. If you are wearing this type of clothing and you don't find that it's practical for the activity you're doing, so let's say you're at the beach and it's just not practical to wear long pants, then when you're in the sun, try to wear a t-shirt or a beach cover up. Clothes that are made from tightly woven fabric, they usually offer the best protection, and you'll also notice that some clothing is certified under international standards as offering UV protection. The next tip is to wear a hat. So for the most protection, you want to wear a hat that has a brim all the way around, that shades your face, your ears. Many people do forget about the ears, even when putting on sunscreen, and the back of your neck. Tightly woven fabrics, such as canvas, that will work best to protect your skin from UV rays. Avoid straw hats or anything with holes that let sunlight through. If you wear a baseball cap, then also protect your ears and the back of your neck. You can do that by wearing clothing or using sunscreen or staying in the shade. Sunglasses are also very important to protect your eyes from UV rays and to reduce your risk of cataracts. They also protect the tender skin around your eyes from sun exposure. Sunglasses that block both UVA and UVB rays offer the best protection, and most sunglasses sold in the US do meet these standards. So before I get into sunscreen, I also want to advise that you visit your dermatologist as recommended. If you do not have a dermatologist or you're not sure when you should visit again, you want to consult your primary caregiver, especially if you've noticed a change in your skin. This could be a new growth, a sore that doesn't heal, or a change in a mole. So finally, sunscreen. Let's talk a little bit more about this in detail. So you want to apply a broad spectrum sunscreen. This means that it blocks both UVA and UVB rays. The CDC recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF, which stands for sun protection factor, of 15 or higher before you go outside. So minimum 15. You want to put a thick layer on all exposed skin. So many people do not layer the sunscreen thick enough. And you also want to get help for hard to reach places like your back. So don't forget, sunscreen is only one measure of protection, and it works best when you combine it with all the other options that we discussed. Sunscreen is not recommended for babies who are 6 months old or younger. And the FDA recommends keeping infants out of the sun during midday and using protective clothing if they must be in the sun. Another important thing that's easy to forget is that once you've started your activity and you're in the beach or you're swimming or you're playing a sport, it's easy to forget to reapply your sunscreen. So don't forget that sunscreen does wear off. And if you've been out in the sun for more than 2 hours, or if you've swum or sweat or toweled off, you do need to reapply that. Finally, always check the expiration date. If the sunscreen does not have an expiration date, it usually has a shelf life of no more than 3 years. Also, if the sunscreen has been exposed to high temperature, its shelf life is shorter. So for more information on sunscreen, of course, you can visit the CDC's website. So along with sun protection, it's also important today and every day to protect yourself from insects when spending time outside. So to protect yourself against mosquitoes, the CDC and the EPA recommend using an EPA-registered insect repellent. And you can find a list on their website. So when used as directed, an EPA-registered insect repellent is proven safe and effective. And as for the effectiveness of non-EPA registered insect repellents, which includes some natural repellents, this is not known. So choosing an EPA registered repellent will ensure that the EPA has evaluated the product for its effectiveness. Once you've chosen your repellent, you want to always follow the product label instructions and reapply as directed. So if you're using both sunscreen and insect repellent, always apply the sunscreen first. After you come indoors, you want to check always your clothing, your body, and your pets for ticks and other insects. Another measure to protect yourself against insects is to wear long sleeve shirts and long pants. And finally, you can also take steps to control mosquitoes indoors and outdoors. And you can do this by checking the screens on your windows and doors, repairing any holes in the screens to keep mosquitoes out. If available, use your air conditioning. Remember to drain and cover, empty and scrub, turn over, cover, or throw out items that hold water. And a lot of items that we may not think about hold water, like tires and buckets and toys and pools, bird baths, flower pots, or trash containers. If you have a fountain that no longer works and it's just gathering water, that's very big for mosquito brain. So moving on to tip number 3, you want to keep cool. The next tip is to keep cool. So especially true in extreme heat, which we are probably familiar with. So extreme heat can be very dangerous, especially for people with chronic medical conditions. So during the season, you want to remember to stay cool, stay hydrated, and stay informed. So if you've been outside for a while, you may have to move indoors for air conditioning or at least a fan. It's also very easy to forget to drink water and become dehydrated. And you want to make sure to always have water with you before you go outside. And finally, stay informed of the weather by checking your local forecast. So this is an infographic by the CDC that's focused on how to avoid, how to spot, and how to treat heat stroke and heat exhaustion. The infographic has been broken into sections so that it can fit the slides. So in this first one, you'll see that in hot temperatures, your body may be unable to cool itself, leading to serious health problems. And when the temperature is very high, the recommendation is that you stay indoors. If you must go outside, you want to dress properly, take breaks often, know who's at high risk for heat stroke and heat exhaustion, and some quick tips to beat the heat. Again, you want to drink plenty of water. You want to check on friends and neighbors that are high risk, and we'll review those in the next slide. You want to find air-conditioned places to cool off, so shopping malls and libraries, and never ever leave your kids or pets in a closed parked vehicle. So going back to the high-risk population, we're talking about infants, young children, older adults, and people with chronic medical conditions. This section of the infographic focuses on how to spot the signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion. And I'm actually going to start with the signs for heat exhaustion on the right. So some signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion. So heavy sweating, paleness, muscle cramps, tiredness, weakness, dizziness, headache, upset stomach or vomiting, and fainting. And then for heat stroke, at this point, your body has reached a temperature of above 103, red, hot, and dry skin, no sweating, rapid, strong pulse, a throbbing headache, dizziness, upset stomach, confusion, and passing out. And if you see any of these signs, you want to get medical help immediately. So once you've called for help and you're waiting for medical attention to arrive, you can help someone with a heat stroke or heat exhaustion. So again, for heat exhaustion on the right, cool, non-alcoholic beverages, rest, a cool, not cold bath, shower or sponge bath, moving to an air-conditioned room and wearing lightweight clothing. For heat stroke, you want to move the victim to a shady area or indoors. You don't want to give the person fluids. You want to place them in a cool bath or shower. If they're outside, you can spray them with a garden hose, sponging with the cool water. And you want to continue your effort to cool the body until the temperature falls below 102. And again, this is while you're waiting for medical attention, so you've called for help. So moving on to the next tip for a healthy summer, tip number 4 is to eat healthy. And you can make any summer meal delicious and healthier by incorporating fruits and vegetables. Healthy eating is important at every age, and Choose My Plate is a great resource to help you learn how to eat healthier and make better food choices. Learning how to choose healthy food is going to contribute to your overall well-being, and the USDA developed My Plate to make your selection of appropriate foods easier. And you can visit their website at choosemyplate.gov, and you can click on selected tabs to access many great resources, including Start Simple with My Plate, which is tips and ideas on how to get started eating and living healthier. You can get a My Plate plan, which is a personalized food plan based on your age, your sex, your height, your weight, and physical activity level. And there are other resources as well that include infographics, graphics, and videos. You can browse by audience and languages like Spanish or target populations for children or family. And My Plate recommends eating a variety of fruits, vegetables, grains, protein foods, and dairy, or fortified soy alternatives if you don't consume dairy. And when deciding what to eat or drink, choose options that are full of nutrients and limited in added sugars, saturated fat, and sodium. You can consider starting with these tips this summer. So first, try making half your plate fruits and vegetables. As you see in the picture, half the plate is fruits and vegetables. You want to focus on whole fruits. So try to include fruits at breakfast. You can top whole grain cereal with your favorite fruit, add berries to pancakes, or mix dried fruit into hot oatmeal. Smoothies are also a great way to incorporate whole fruit into your day. You also want to vary your veggies. Cook a variety of colorful veggies, and you can make extra vegetables and save some for later. You can use them in a stew, a soup, or a pasta dish. For proteins, again, you also want to vary that routine. You can try adding a new protein that you normally don't eat, shrimp, beans, or chicken or beef, and combine your favorite vegetables and the proteins for a nutritious meal. You also want to make half your grains whole grains. So you can try adding brown rice to your stir-fry dishes, or try switching to whole grain flour when you bake or cook. You can also try switching to whole grain bread. And for the dairy group, you want to move to low-fat or fat-free dairy milk or yogurt, lactose-free dairy or fortified soy versions for those alternatives. You can enjoy a yogurt parfait for breakfast made with low-fat or fat-free yogurt, topped with fruit and nuts to get into more food groups, so your fruits and your proteins there. You want to drink and eat less sodium, less saturated fat, and less added sugars. So if you cook at home, it's easier. So if you cook at home more often, you can limit those sugars and the saturated fat and that sodium. Also, it's very, very important to read those ingredients lists and use the nutrition facts label to compare the foods. And remember, the benefits of healthy eating do add up over time, small changes at a time. So this is a CDC infographic that reviews the benefits of healthy eating for adults. So let's review some of these. So healthy eating may help you live longer. It keeps your skin, your teeth, and your eyes healthy. It supports your muscles. It boosts your immunity. It strengthens your bones. And lowers your risk for heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some cancers. It supports healthy pregnancies and breastfeeding, helps your digestive system function, and helps achieve and maintain a healthy weight. So a good way to make delicious summer recipes and eat healthier is to look for seasonal fruits and vegetables. So I found this sheet through the Department of Agriculture, and if you go on their website, you can find it by month, whatever you're interested in. So for the month of July, we're looking at avocados, carambola, guava, longan, lychee, mango, mushrooms, passion fruit, peanuts, and watermelon. And this is also a very good way to get familiar with new fruits and vegetables that you normally wouldn't pick out, and you didn't even, for example, some of these I've never used before. So you can look up recipes and find the best way to prepare them and really get creative with your recipes. So the next tip we're going to discuss is to rethink your drink. So getting enough water every day is important for your health and a good way to prevent dehydration. So water helps your body keep a normal temperature. It lubricates and cushions your joints. It protects your spinal cord and other sensitive tissues. It gets rid of waste through urination, perspiration, and bowel movements. And also, your body does need more water when you're in hot climates, if you're more physically active or if you're running a fever. So according to the CDC, sugary drinks are the leading source of added sugars in the American diet, which means that most of us eat and drink too many added sugars. This can lead to significant health problems, right? So people who drink sugary drinks are more likely to face health problems such as weight gain, obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, cavities, and gout. Sugary drinks are also called sugar-sweetened beverages, in case you ever see that written out. And again, there are any liquids that are sweetened with added sugar, such as regular soda, fruit drinks, sport drinks, energy drinks, sweetened waters, and coffee and tea beverages. Limiting sugary drinks can help you maintain a healthy weight and have a healthy diet. So many people don't realize just how much sugar there is in their drinks and how many calories there are. So for example, in a 12-ounce portion of a sports drink, you can have 2 teaspoons of sugar, that's 75 calories. In sweet tea, 8.5 teaspoons and 120 calories. In a cola, 10.25 teaspoons and 150 calories. Orange soda, 13 teaspoons, 210 calories. These are all approximations, which vary depending on the brand and the type that you pick. So that's another reason why checking the nutrition facts label is so important. But there's a lot of sugar in them, and it's very easy to drink your calories. So always be mindful and look it up so you can see exactly what you're consuming, or look at the nutrition facts label. So yeah, let's review some tips on how to rethink your drink. So if you're trying to drink more water, a good trick is to try adding more flavor. If you need more flavor, you can add berries or slices of lime, lemon or cucumber to water. If you're used to drinking fizzy drinks and that's what you're craving, you can add a splash of 100% juice to plain sparkling water for a refreshing low-calorie drink. They also have no added sugar sparkling waters available. If you need help breaking the habit, then just don't buy it. Don't stock up on sugary drinks. Instead, keep a jug or bottles of cold water in the fridge. And if it's one of those days that water just won't do, then reach for a drink that contains important nutrients, right? So low fat or fat-free milk or fortified milk alternatives or 100% fruit or vegetable juice. If you are a freaking coffee drinker, try modifying your order at the coffee shop. So skip the flavored syrups or whipped cream. Ask for a drink with low fat or fat-free milk, milk alternatives such as soy or almond, or get back to basics with black coffee. Remember, the small changes add up. If you're someone who drinks caramel lattes with whipped cream every day, you may not switch to black coffee immediately, but maybe start getting it without whipped cream. Really, those small changes do add up. At the store, you always want to read the nutrition facts label. So choose drinks that are low in calories, added sugars, and saturated fat. You also want to be prepared for when you're on the go. Carry a reusable water bottle with you and refill it throughout the day. Increasing your intake. So many people have trouble drinking enough water. People say that they'll forget to drink water or they just don't get thirsty. So some good ways to increase your water intake are to carry a water bottle, like we mentioned. Choose water over sugary drinks. So if every time you go have a drink instead of a Coke or a soda, you pick water, you'll increase that water intake. Choose water when eating out. Serve water during meals and improve the taste so that it encourages you to drink some more. So like we said, add berries, add fresh fruit to that to encourage you to drink more. Our final tip for today is to quit tobacco. So the final tip for you to have a healthy and happy summer, again, is to quit tobacco. And Tobacco Free Florida offers free tools and services to help you get started. They have a variety of options, so you can pick the one that's right for you. So they have Phone Quit, where a quit coach is waiting for you to call to help you on your journey. They provide 2 weeks of nicotine patches or gum, and the number you can call is 1-877 You Can Now, and you can see it on the screen. They also have Group Quit, so you can register for a session with trained facilitators along with others who want to quit like you. And again, 2 to 4 weeks of nicotine patches, gum or lozenges, and they have that group support for you. Also, if you're someone who likes to do things via web, then you can get 24/7 access to Web Quit, where you'll find 2 weeks of nicotine patches or gum, a progress tracker, and blogs where you can share your story. And of course, they have multiple ways to quit, and you can choose the right tools for you. So they have other options as well. So again, the number is 1-877 You Can Now. And I think that's time for questions, Candace.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for that wonderful presentation and those healthy tips for this summer that you can also use every single day as well that you mentioned. So now we'll go ahead and open the floor to any questions. As a friendly reminder, please remember you can add them in the chat box. And we did receive a few questions when some of you had registered, so we're going to go ahead and get those answered. And so the first question, Melissa, is, how much water should I drink every day?
Sure. So currently, the CDC does not offer recommendations for how much plain water adults should drink daily. Daily fluid intake recommendations, so the total water consumed from food, from your plain water and other beverages, that's going to vary by your age, your sex, whether you're pregnant or breastfeeding. So the best thing you can do if you want your specific intake recommendation is that you talk to your healthcare provider, your primary healthcare provider, to find out your specific needs. But as we discussed, it's recommended that you substitute sugary drinks for water.
Thank you so much for that insight. And so the next question we have is, can we break down the 30 minutes of physical activity into smaller increments of time?
Sure. So as we discussed, the 30 minutes can be broken down to smaller bouts. So for example, 2 15-minute walks. You really want to find a balance that works for you and aim for that recommendation. But some activity is better than none. So of course, you always want to consult your doctor if you're just beginning or if you have a chronic disease. But yes, you can break that down.
Thank you for sharing that reminder with us. And so the next question that was submitted was, does the increased frequency in eating have a negative effect on gastric health?
So there are many different diet recommendations out there. For this specific question, you would have to reach out to your primary health care provider for your specific needs because everybody's body is unique and different. So since it's a question about gastric health, you'd really have to reach out to your doctor.
Thank you. And the next one, we have some people submit asking if you could please share some exercises for strength and cardio.
So sure. So you always want to choose an activity that you enjoy and that you feel comfortable doing. So for cardio, you want to do an activity that gets your heart beating faster. So perhaps bike riding or swimming laps or walking briskly with your dog or playing a sport. For muscle strengthening, again, you want to pick something you enjoy and that you feel comfortable doing. This can be body weight exercises such as push-ups, sit-ups, or the like. And some people also enjoy weight training. Of course, don't do anything you're not comfortable doing and consult a professional if you have any questions.
Thank you. The next one is, what are some good healthy eating habits?
So as mentioned, you can find some great ideas by visiting choosemyplate.gov. Some quick healthy eating habits are to incorporate fruits and vegetables at every meal. If possible, making them half of your plate. Choosing whole grains is also important, as well as low fat or fat-free dairy.
Thank you for those healthy eating habits. And we have a few more questions. And I also wanted to share that there were some good comments in the chat. Great presentation. Thank you so much, Melissa. And so the next one related to sun safety was, how often should I reapply sunscreen?
So for sunscreen, you always want to check the label on your specific sunscreen since there might be different directions, but in general, you want to reapply sunscreen if you've been in the sun for more than 2 hours, if you've swum, if you've sweat, or if you toweled off.
Okay. And the last one that I have is, what are some ways to shop for healthy options on a budget?
So that's a great question. So some good ways to eat healthy on a budget is to first plan your weekly meals. So see what you already have and write down what you're going to buy. That way you don't buy things you don't need. And consider using any leftovers from your meals for another meal, either lunch or sometime down the week. If you freeze it, also find out what fruits and vegetables are in season, like we talked about, since usually those items are more budget friendly. And finally, familiarize yourself with your store's discounts or promo items that may come along.
Thank you so much for that, Melissa. And I'll just give it another minute or so if anybody has any other questions to add in the chat box. And thank you again, Melissa, for coming today and presenting at the Healthy Happens Here series. And I'll just go ahead and give it another minute, but I just also wanted to share that today's event is a part of the Florida Department of Health and Miami-Dade County Office of Community Health and Planning's webinar series titled Healthy Happens Here. And we hold these webinars each month on a variety of different topics such as nutrition, mental health, tobacco cessation, and chronic disease self-management. And I also wanted to announce a few future upcoming events. Our next Healthy Happens webinar will be on Thursday, August 26th at 1 p.m. And more details will be shared. It will be related to mindful eating. And the second event I wanted to share with you all is our next Eat Fresh series Facebook Live event. And this will be hosted on Friday, September 10th at 12 p.m. And this, you'll join us in the consortium's kitchen as we go through a live cooking demonstration, and you'll learn more about nutrition, healthy eating, and healthy lifestyles. And finally, please make sure to visit healthymiamidade.org to receive the latest updates from the consortium, as well as other health educational information. And we'll also be sharing today with you all an evaluation link for this event. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop that in right now. So if you guys can take a few minutes out of your day to complete that, and we use for ideas and future development. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. And we're just receiving a few more comments, Melissa. Great feedback for your presentation. And so I just want to thank everybody again for joining us today. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And the evaluation link is there. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.